I mean, I think that Airbus order of 120 planes is certainly something that will give some credence to the idea that this was a positive trip for the German Chancellor, but it comes at a time when the relationship between China and Germany has become much more complicated than it's been in previous decades. There, Friedrich Merz was alluding to the trading relationship between China and Germany. Obviously, Germany has had a very large foothold within the Chinese economy for many, many decades. It was really the country and its companies that developed the Chinese automotive market back when the Chinese auto sector basically didn't exist in the 1970s. It was Volkswagen that did all that. But ever since, now there is, of course, a very fiercely competitive Chinese automotive market in which the Germans are now having a very difficult time. And while he was there on his trip, before he went out there, he said that he wanted to address some of the trading concerns with China, the unfair practices, these subsidies. And we should say that there was a period of time last year when basically, in the last couple of years, the German economy was gearing more towards the United States. The United States became the biggest trading partner with Germany. You look back into what happened last year with the Trump presidency, it is now China again. They did 250 billion euros worth of trade last year. And what is uncomfortable for the Germans is that it accounted for a 90 billion euro trade deficit that the Germans were running with the Chinese. So that is something that obviously the Germans will be looking to try to rebalance. It is not very clear whether or not they're going to be able to do that. There are some disagreements, obviously, Vani, on the question of geopolitics, the Chinese being a big supporter of the Russian economy and its war efforts in Ukraine, something that the Germans are very uncomfortable with. The question of raw materials and getting the supply chains secured is, again, something that the Germans are very uncomfortable with. But the issue is, Vani, the Germans wanted to pivot towards the United States. That has proved a lot more difficult. We look at the trade data from last year between Germany and the United States. The exports of German motor vehicles, trailers, and semi-trailers to the United States dropped 18% last year. So that just sort of puts the situation for the Germans where they're in this sort of land of frenemies to the east and to the west, where they need to be friendly with both, but they can't really use one or the other as a sort of reliable ally. So basically, that's the situation for Friedrich Merz as he heads back now to Germany today.